Hey friends, welcome back. It's October, it's that spooky time of year, and as we know, so many actors and theater people are superstitious. There are so many theater superstitions out there. So I thought today I would take a Theatre Superstitions quiz while recording this video so that we could talk about different theater superstitions and see how many of them I actually know. But first, I need coffee. Today, I thought I would see how many of the superstitions I actually knew, so I just typed in Theatre Superstitions Quiz into Google, and these are the ones that I found. I went with the first one. I haven't taken this yet, so we'll see how this goes, and we'll see how many of them I actually know. So let's do this. Question number 1. All actors love a chance to perform Shakespeare. There is one play by the bard, however, that must never be mentioned in any theater except while actually performing it. What is the name of this most unlucky play? This one's easy. Everyone knows this one. This is the Scottish play, Macbeth. Oops. All kidding aside, here's the thing with the Scottish play. This play, I think so many things have happened as part of it. I don't know how many of them are actually true. I think a lot of this goes back to, there's this kind of the story that when the play was first produced, they went through multiple actors playing Lady Macbeth. And yes, I do mean actors because during Shakespearean times, women weren't allowed to be on stage. But I mean, we don't seem to have a ton of historical evidence for it, but maybe. There are obviously the stories during the Victorian times of actresses who were playing Lady Macbeth had carriage accidents, or their pets were hit by traffic or something. So like, I think there's enough of this. I think it's really comes down to the fact that we have the witches, right? The witches and the prophecies and all of that. I mean, even Doctor Who kind of pokes at that a little bit in one of their episodes. So the Scottish play is definitely one of theater's most iconic myths. Question number 2. Old-time theater people will warn you against performing which action backstage? Whistling. This is a legit thing, and this has to do with how the flywheel system in a theater used to operate. Prior to the current flywheel system that we have now in most theaters, which is a counterweight system, which uses a really clever combination of pulleys and weights to off-balance all of the flying scenery and the lighting and the backdrops and all of that stuff that we use, they used to have to pull up the ropes manually without the support of any of these pulleys. They would hire sailors. The logic behind it was sailors were used to adjusting sails, which are basically just big pieces of fabric, and backdrops are just big pieces of fabric. And since both are pulled up by ropes, it makes sense to hire sailors to do it. The thing that goes back to whistling, though, is sailors used to communicate how to raise and lower the sails by certain whistle commands. And so that is how they used to communicate across the flyloft. When we're on stage, we don't whistle because we don't want any of the drops to just drop on our head. Whether this is just out of the tradition of that we don't do it, or we're worried that the ghosts of the stagehands will drop the drops on our heads. It kind of depends on who you're talking to, but this is a very, very practical and well-documented superstition that it really has its roots in true theater history. Question number 3. Before a theater is locked up for the night, what should one always do? The ghost light, right? We all know this. Here at Stage Door Unlocked, we have ghost lights kind of all over the place. There's one that's on our set, and then we have one at our coffee bar, which we call the Ghost Light Cafe. that ghost light was left on so that obviously people coming in to the theater the next day wouldn't hit their heads or stub their feet or something on the equipment and things. But it kind of became this tradition that you were leaving lights on for the ghosts of the theater. Basically, every theater is haunted, right? I mean, every theater has their ghost. This tradition is one that I just think is really, really cool, and something that we really take to heart here at Stage Door Unlocked, because one of the traditions is the idea of leaving the light on, that you will be back. People will be back. But also, there was this incredible thing called the Ghostlight Project, which was this great project where if you were somehow connected to the industry, either as like a service or a rehearsal studio or a performance venue, you would have this ghost light. And it basically meant that anyone was welcome in your space. And it didn't matter political beliefs or religious beliefs or gender or sexual identity. This was a safe space. And Stage Door Unlocked continues this ghost light tradition. We have, like I said, the ghost lights that are here in our space. That's why we have the Ghost Light Cafe. That's the whole point. It's our belief here at Stage Door Unlocked that anyone who wants the opportunity to get to perform should get the chance to perform, and we're here to help make that happen. Question number 4. Is that getting old yet? Many types of props are considered unlucky, both for superstitious and practical reasons. Fakes should be used in place of the actual objects. Which of these is not considered a bad luck item? Okay, pause for a second. When I was originally recording this, I read the question wrong, and that changed my answer for the question. But as I'm rereading it, now I understand which of these is not considered bad luck. Aha. And the answer is playing cards. Playing cards, there's not really anything bad luck about playing cards. There are countless things that are considered bad luck about the other objects that you don't want to have on stage. Playing cards are actually considered good luck on stage. I know some people that actually try to slip playing cards somewhere into every show that they work on, because it's kind of this, you're taking a risk, you're taking a gamble by doing this show, and usually it pays off. So it's not uncommon to see playing cards just kind of scattered around different theaters, or drawings of playing cards scattered around different theaters around the country. This is something that if you ever do a tour, take that time and see if you can find some of the playing cards that have been left by different performers or different technicians. Question number 5. What should an audience member never do to an actor before a production? Obviously, wish them good luck. This is like the biggest curse I think you could possibly put on an actor, is to wish them good luck before a performance. Obviously, you want to say break a leg. There are so many different variants on the origin of the phrase break a leg. We're not 100% sure exactly which one it is. I know that one is something that I talk about in the superstitions video that I did. Again, if you want to learn more about that superstition, check out that video. Question number 6. What is a portent of a good opening night? This is one I have to remind myself of every time I direct a show, and it is a bad final dress. I think that there is actual logic behind this. I think the adrenaline kicks in for people if you have a bad final dress rehearsal, and you're kind of like, oh no, and you focus and you think a lot more and you work a lot harder, which then usually leads to a good opening night. Another one that is really common with this is that you're not supposed to say the last line of the play until opening night, and that kind of goes hand in hand with this one. Again, I don't quite understand the history of that one. I think the logic is that if you say the last line, then it's actually a performance, and you shouldn't ever perform a show without an audience. That in itself is bad luck. So by avoiding that last line, you're not actually doing a performance. Both of those, I think, are things that actors use to kind of justify things to themselves. But I do always have to remind myself that last final dress rehearsal, that it's like, Okay, this went bad. This is actually good luck. Question number 7. Which of these is a superstition regarding the green room? All of these are things that you don't want to have or have happen in the green room. The one that I personally think is kind of crazy is that you shouldn't carry your own makeup kit. And I know this one really comes down to that you're not a big star if you're carrying your own equipment. And I think this is one of those like, just err on the side of humility, carry your own stuff. But I do know some actors that are very adamant that you do not carry your own makeup kit. There is also the idea that you don't want to be using new makeup on opening night. And I think this probably has actual logistical merit as well. If you haven't tried out a particular new kind of makeup, you either might not know how to use it, and so the makeup might not turn out very well, or you might break out, you might have an allergic reaction. So again, I think there's logic behind so many of these myths, and that's what the kind of historian side of me really loves about these superstitions. Question number 8. Nearly every color of costume or prop has some sort of superstition to go along with it. But which color costume is considered unlucky because it signifies the company is wasteful of money? Blue. Blue fabric was very, very expensive. Specifically, blue dye was very, very expensive. And so a lot of producers started to kind of spread this myth that it was unlucky to have blue fabric for costumes, or to just even have the color blue appear on stage at all. And it was them just basically saying, we don't want to spend money on the color blue, so don't use it. I always thought this one was funny because when I was in high school, the auditorium that we had blue curtains, and I was always like, no, this is unlucky. This should not be a thing. And luckily now they've changed it, which is probably for the better. Question number 9. We have 2 left. Speaking of colors, which musical instrument must never be allowed in the orchestra? I don't know. I'm trying to think of any kind of logic for these. I'm trying to think of like shows that maybe have anything to do with them. I'm gonna take a guess. I'm gonna guess and say it's a yellow clarinet because I don't think I've ever seen a yellow clarinet. Hey! Yellow clarinet. All right, so the quiz says, for some reason, a yellow clarinet is the most unlucky instrument of all and will spell doom for a musical production. That's not helpful. I don't know. Why is a yellow clarinet the most unlucky instrument? If you know, could you comment down below? I really want to know. I could probably Google it, but if there's somebody that's watching it that knows that a yellow clarinet is unlucky, could you comment and explain? That would be great. Final question. Question number 10. It is considered lucky to have a certain type of animal living in the theater. What? I think they mean like what animal? This one's a cat. I know this one. Cats are lucky because mice run across the stage, and that's weird. So you have the cat to kind of help catch the mice. And it should specifically be a black cat. Why? Because theater people are superstitious, and black cats and magical things, and theater's weird. Obviously, if the black cat runs across stage, it's going to be going across your path, and that is still considered bad luck, and theater people are still superstitious of regular superstitions as well. So as long as your production doesn't have a black cat that runs across the stage, opens on Friday the 13th, you're probably okay. There you go. That's it for this video. I hope you found this quiz type video exciting. If you enjoyed it, please let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Do you have a favorite theater superstition? Is there one that wasn't in this quiz that you really like? I'd love to hear about it. Comment down below. That's it for this video. As always, actors, you're awesome. Be awesome. And I'll see you next time.